Hello and welcome to today's live podcast interview on Lifestyle with Luke Lintott, the top podcast for corporate health, wellness, and living your best life. Today, I'm joined by my friend Christoph Key. We're going to go deep into coming out beautiful. And Christoph and I hit it off when we met each other, actually through my roommate, and he does all texture hair and is amazing. So we have in common that we are both sober. We both truly love ourselves and just hit it off energetically. And for those of you who do not know me, my name is Luke. I coach executives to get fit and loved while making money. Today, we're going to go deep into our health and wellness journeys, coming out stories, and sobriety journeys. Christoph is a vibrantly energetic salon owner of Key Hair LLC in Hillcrest here in San Diego. Christoph's mission is to bring back stronger personal connections between hairstylists and clients in San Diego. From his precise knowledge in curly hair to his vast experiences in bridal styling, his clients receive a truly unique experience. He prides himself on personal connection and communication first. He believes it is the foundation to creating beautiful hair that satisfies. Living a sober lifestyle, he loves to bring information on sobriety and talks of spirituality, meditation, and healthy living to his salon. Welcome, Christoph, to today's live podcast interview on the top podcast for lifestyle.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and I would just love to give you the opportunity to share more about the great work that you do, maybe beyond your bio, and what brought you to where you are now.
Well, I will have 4 years of sobriety, God willing, next month. And actually not next month, in a couple of days here. It comes up really quickly on you. And I've been in San Diego for 2 years now. And so when opening up my own business, I wanted to lean towards who I naturally am as a person. And I'm a person of color. I am half Black and half Irish. And so I'm used to curly hair and different textures of hair. And there was a lack of knowledge here in San Diego. And so after opening up my own shop, I realized that I wanted to be of service to my community and also thrive. And so that's why I chose to deal with curly hair. And on top of that, I love brides and I love bridal and I love weddings. And so that energy just like really makes me happy as a person. So being a part of bridal and doing bridal hair fills me up on the inside as well. So
Absolutely awesome. Yeah, personal is professional. I feel like that's so beautiful that you've intertwined your experiences, your background. And also, I've just heard only great things from the people that you've worked with, whether it's going blonde, whether it's changing your style completely or getting touched up, regularly, getting those hairstyling appointments in. And I've also visited his hairstyling salon right here in Hillcrest. It's an amazing place, so do check it out. Now, for people out there that want to go deeper, because I know something that really resonates with me with the great work you do, similar to what I do, is it's so much more than just your hair, right? We were talking about how Christoph adds that style of sharing about his lifestyle, someone who is sober and someone who is unique and different. And I know we recently went to an AA meeting together with other LGBT people. And it was really cool because during one of your talks, you were talking more about how spirit speaks through you. And I would love to hear more about that. Like what pizzazz you add in terms of styling that hair.
well, yeah. I have to be honest, I did not see bringing spirituality and sobriety into my business. I thought that was just going to be something that was a part of my life and I would reap the benefits of that. And that would just be that. But I have something what I like to call the gift of transparency. I have a YouTube channel. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Instagram. I have all those things. And I've been acting since I was about 3 or 4 years old. So I'm used to the stage. I have a degree in musical theater and from high school, not from college. But it is a part of who I am. So when it comes to being honest and speaking from the heart, I don't have a problem doing that. And so once I got sober, I realized that I can't keep this all into myself. I have to spread this joy to other people as in a newer way because we had heard of AA before and people have their own thoughts and perceptions on that. But I like to consider myself a new version of sobriety because we have a lot of fun and I do follow the principles, but I follow them in my own way. And I think everybody has the right to do that. And so, when I have people sit in my chair, I have an opportunity to share a piece of my soul with them. And what I didn't expect was how well that would be received. Just as much as they love their fabulous hair, they tell me that their soul is filled up, that I make them think about things that they're going to be thinking about for a long time. And it really brings me to this. Like, for the longest time, I thought that being a singer was my purpose in life. I thought that being an actor was my purpose in life. After getting a license doing hair, I thought doing hair was my purpose in life. But all of those things are talents. That's not a purpose. What I've realized by meditation and sobriety is that my purpose in life is to inspire other people through singing, through theater, through hair, are avenues of which to inspire others. But my ultimate goal in life is to inspire other people. I see them on a human level, and that's what I like to bring into my business. I feel that, yes, we all need money in this world, but you're a human and you're not a paycheck to me. I want to hear about your day. I want to hear about the issues that you're having with your hair, with your life. You know, I have younger clients, I have older clients, and as much as I think that I'm helping them, they're really helping me every step of the way.
Fabulous. It's a two-way connection. And I agree with what you're saying. When you live on purpose, you actually have a longer, better life. When you're doing what you love, you're less dependent on likes, on views, on the people pleasing when you're connected with what lights you up, right? And so that's why you see with so many people, and I see that with you, Christoph, that are really aligned with what they're meant to be doing here on this planet, that, you know, you just feel good, right? And I know for me, similarly, and we're going to go deeper into this in terms of self-love, it's really helped me love myself enough to do the things like we're talking about, like go get my hair done by someone who's like really talented at it, go take care of my body, get sober, eat the right foods, get rid of those that cause me to binge, right? Cause me to binge. And it's a process, it's not a result, right? And so I think that's something pertinent that people actually voted on my Instagram. They wanted to hear more about our self-love and even our coming out journeys
Okay.
as individuals that are both queer identified. So I just like to leave it at that. Like, did you want to just share more about your whole journey in terms of all of this? That's
Um,
foundation for it all. Yeah.
I guess that I don't know if I want to start with coming out or just the health thing. My coming out story is a little bit different. My parents had me very young. My parents are Generation X, and they had me at 16 years old. They are still married, madly in love, and they're my best friends. So they met in art school. My dad was a theater major, my mom was a vocal major, and they had a lot of gay friends. They knew what it was. It was the 80s, and they knew I was gay probably before I knew that I was gay. You know, I was a theater major in high school, prancing around in tights, and I was very much my authentic self at a young age. And I was never made to feel unaccepted for who I was. So my coming out story was a little maybe risque. I was probably about 15 or 16, and I came home, and my parents had found a stack of my pornography. And that's what prompted our conversation. They said that they weren't angry about what it was. They were upset because I wasn't old enough to have that material. And honestly, I believe them because we're very open and real with each other. And it is what it is. It's not as dark as a lot of other people's, but I think that just honestly, I'm grateful to my parents for having an open mind and being able to accept their only child.
Fabulous. That's amazing. Yeah, we were actually talking about the difference between being raised by someone who is a Gen Xer versus someone who is a more advanced, like a baby boomer, right? And I know our stories are similar but different, right? I'm also mixed race, but of course that's different, being Native American and white, and also being, of course, white passing, all these things. And so like my parents also divorced and are very, very different human beings. And they're probably both watching this live right here. But I am grateful because I was also an actor. I was in many spaces as a child that were accepting of my queer identity. And I was also in spaces that were not accepting of my queer identity, right? And that led me to stuff it down during a lot of my time. And even when I entered middle school, that's actually when I stopped acting. I stopped dancing. I stopped doing these creative things because where I grew up, it wasn't cool for boys to dance, right? And those different things, those ideas. So maybe some of y'all can relate to me. So I just want you to know, like, even if you didn't have that foundation of accepting everyone in your family, accept you, what have you, there's still hope, right? You can still love yourself now. You can reprogram as an adult. And I want to say, like, I'm grateful for those mountains I faced. My own journey, I came out to myself when I was 28, right? It wasn't something that I knew when I was 6 years old. That's okay too, right? I was in a heterosexual relationship before that. And then I found out when I did a lot of the work that I do with my clients now, right? The hypnosis, the inner and outer work on the body and mind, who I am. I embraced my essence, right? And that came after years of maladaptive coping mechanisms. I turned to alcohol, I turned to scrolling. I also didn't love myself, right? I would never be comfortable back in my 20s coming onto this live, in front of all the haters, right?
Oh yeah.
In front of the people that be trolling. No matter what we get them.
They do, they come. And that just
We were talking about that though,
right.
because Christoph has had some of his videos, by the way, have gone viral. Go follow him. He's been getting millions of views. And we were actually talking about the PTSD from the comments and the messages that you get from the trolls out there that might want to scare you to be back on to who you might have used to be / who they think that you should have been or what it could have been. And yeah, and I think that's really relevant to self-love, since for anyone, even if you're not LGBT, like, I would love to hear more about, Christoph, your resilience and continuing to show the fuck up, even when people aren't going to love and accept and embrace who you are.
It's finally finding that right balance. After getting that first viral video of like 1 million is when you get tested. The trolls start coming out and you start getting obsessed with how many views you received. You start reading every single one of the comments. And at one point, I had this realization that I'm going to stop feeling this chaotic, nasty energy within myself if I simply just don't read it. I realize that if I am presenting myself to the masses of the world like I am, the odds are some people are so hurt and so lonely that the only attention that they can receive is by being nasty to another person. And so now that I have so much love for myself, I can only show compassion for those people. And honestly, I don't have to read it. I could just press on about my life because I get them to what they say. I look like Andrew Tate, and I'm like, okay, he's a horrible person, but I'm not. Like, if that's how you feel, fantastic. But it's definitely a form of self-care by choosing what to acknowledge and what not to, because we both have a light within ourselves. And if we stay at home and stay quiet, then we are putting out our own flame. And that is not the purpose of this life, and not this life for myself, So I expect that. And when I get those negative comments or the trolls, I know I'm doing something right because I love myself so much that it doesn't really penetrate that far anymore.
I was going to say the experiences that I had growing up in a conservative small town in rural Northern California, not being embraced for who I am, even with people that are in my own family, has made me more resilient and strong, knowing that a stranger is not going to have the same impact because I've already been through these experiences and they've made me stronger, right? So I just wanted to invite you, and I talk more about this in my book, shifting how you look at any of those negative things that come your way. There may be wisdom in that experience. There may be beauty in that. And also there's understanding, right? There are different life experiences that people have based off of what time and place, where they grow up, where they are located in the world, right? And we're in a time now, and we're being overloaded with information. You get about 74 gigabytes of information per day right now, which is more than we used to get 500 years ago in our entire lifespan, which is good in the sense that if you harness that information to your ascension, it could be powerful. However, if you let your attention go everywhere, if you get pulled by ads, likes, buzzes, notifications, and you're seeing this with the younger generation Z and of course the alpha generation, that a lot of folks are feeling so spread thin that they're paralyzed by all of the distractions. And I know, like, we don't stop, right? I've gone to the farmers market with you, Christoph, and you are always networking. You're getting new clients. You just moved here not that long ago, and his barber shop is already exploding. He has nonstop consultations.
Salon, not a barber
salon,
shop.
excuse me.
It's okay.
And so I just wanted to know, I know for people out there, because a lot of my people out there are entrepreneurs, are business owners, they're calling in new clients. They desire to be like Christoph and just be like talking to Brittany over at the farmer's market about their hair or their skin or whatever you're selling, your body, your, coaching. I know you have one of my friends is doing therapy. Like, what words of wisdom would you have to the person out there that's struggling to just put themselves out there, whether it is online like this live or it is in person? Because both are valid. Yeah.
That's a really great question. I guess the easiest way to answer that is find your own strengths. I'm a people person, and when I first started my business about 8 months ago, I had no time to prepare myself mentally to be a business owner. It just happened. When those doors opened for me, I was courageous enough and blessed enough to have this opportunity that I said, here we go. I didn't mentally prepare for that. So my initial thought was, clients, clients, clients. How can I get more? How can I get more? I do everything. I was flying in the neighborhood. I was on all the social media accounts, and I was losing so much sleep and so much stress, constantly worried about how I'm going to pay two rents being new to California. And about 4 months ago, I had a spiritual awakening. And a huge part of that was slowing the F down, physically and mentally. I slowed down my pace of walk by 50%. I stopped taking my electric scooter out and started walking places. And what I found was every single day, and I'm not being dramatic, every single day I saw a new flower that I'd never seen before in my entire life. Every single moment, I got a magical moment with a hawk and a butterfly and a hummingbird. Every single day, I saw the beauty of the world. And I realized that this is what life is about. And I was rushing so much to achieve what? This magical number of money that who says that we're supposed to have? You know, success looks different for every single person. So I had to find what success looks like for me. I love waking up in the morning and having my mornings to myself and genuinely going about my day. So now my strategy for getting new business clients is picking out the clients that I want to work with. So what do I enjoy doing in my life? Well, first off, when I wake up in the morning, I do a Zoom meeting on AA. I take care of myself first. Because in this business of service, we have to remember to take care of ourselves, especially if you're touching another person, because we can feel that energetically. So I wake up in the morning and I'm on a Zoom AA meeting for an hour. After that, I meditate for another hour. I sage my entire home and I mentally prepare myself to enter the world. And that prepares me to be to take care of my clients in the way that I really want to take care of my clients. But it first starts with me leading with my passion. And so my passion is who I am as a person. So I narrowed down my target audience by seeing who I am. I am a person of color. And although I'm bald, I shaved my head, I had very curly hair. And my mom has very curly hair. And so I started to see other mixed races in my community that I could say, hey, I love your curls. I specialize in curls and I own my own salon just across the street. I would love to help you out sometime. And the response has been absolutely beautiful because this is a demographic of people that have a hard time finding someone to trust. And not only do I look like them, I have the education and the knowledge to bring to it, which they can immediately tell. And so by simply leaning in towards who I am, that has made my business thrive. As far as long as bridal, the same thing goes for bridal. I love high energy. I love really girly hair. I mean, I remember playing with Barbie dolls and that was my thing. And I see it being the same thing now. I'm playing with hair, with curls, but bringing a family together in one of the most stressful points of their life fills me up on the inside. And that's me inspiring other people, making sure grandma feels good as well as all the bridesmaids and knowing that you shifted the energy of a person in a room. That's where the magic is for me.
That's fantastic. I want to add on top of that that your energy is everything. This body is 99.99% energy, even though we style our hair, right? You're going to see it physically in this three-dimensional world that we're in. You're going to feel differently too. They've done studies on that with unhoused people that actually get their hair done. They get a makeover. It actually changes your mindset when you look different, right?
Absolutely.
And so doing the outside does affect the inside, right? Taking care of your skin, putting on, objects that are ethically made, like my favorite are Madame Collective, the Lotus Luna, the list goes on. I also wanted to add that through this meditation and hypnosis work, which for me, it's a little bit different than for Christoph, I have noticed that I'm attracting rather than forcing. And also I've really embraced this detached state, if you will. Especially when I used to go online and when I first started my business in 2019, I can't believe it's almost been 5 years. I was a little bit more in the forcing rather than the allowing, right? And
that's
I
also the world
also,
that we live in.
it's the
We
world,
live
yes,
in
a
that
very
they want us to
masculine world.
push.
It's a push masculine world. And things are actually changing pretty quickly right now where people are being intuitively drawn to different people. And know that especially now in this world where you get 74 gigabytes of information in one day rather than your entire life, the how is even that much more unknown. There is not a step-by-step process to attract your soulmate, to get more clients, to even lose weight, right? And I know it's not a one-size-fits-all approach. And with all of that in mind, I do think it is so valuable for us to even talk more, and people are interested in this and hearing about our own sobriety stories, since that is intertwined with your hair, it's intertwined with our health and wellness and, you know, getting fit and all that shit. Since I know for both of us, we do have in common that sobriety was a big game changer. And so I'd be happy to share my story. I would love to hear yours, Christoph, because I've heard bits and pieces, but it's so inspiring for, especially for people out there that are considering it, that are sober curious, which we're seeing increase in that. People are wanting to join us and Jennifer Lopez and Tyra Banks, Will Smith, Jada Smith, the list goes on. Calvin Harris is also sober. So I'd love to hear your story.
Well, honestly, sobriety was the best thing that I ever did for myself. I did not want it. I did not think that I wanted to be sober, but I am actually one of the people that I call myself a pandemic baby. I got sober during the pandemic in 2020. Living in Denver, Colorado, I had been drinking and constantly using cocaine for 16 years straight of my life. I was the type of person where if you weren't okay with that, then you did not have to be around me, and I was okay with that. People accepted my erratic behavior, and I created my own chaos and my own stage. When that pandemic hit, it was a very scary time for me because it was also the time of the riots. I'm originally from Louisville, Kentucky, and I grew up in Denver, Colorado. So dumpsters on fires and police helicopters were not something that I was used to. So put that on top of the psychosis I was putting myself under with the daily use of cocaine and the daily use of vodka. My body was starting to take a toll on me. And what really scared me was the day after the 4th of July. That's my sobriety date, July 5th, 2020. I realized that I needed to change in my life. And I made it home and I detoxed for 3 days in my apartment. It was a hot, gross apartment, a sweaty 100-degree weather. And I detoxed and I said, all right, it's time to change my life. I reached out to a couple of friends I knew that were in the program. I was dating a guy in Los Angeles who had 33 years of sobriety. And so I had little nuggets and breadcrumbs to lead me up to taking my own journey. But once I finally decided to go all in, that is when the magic started to happen for me. I realized after the first year of sobriety that Denver, Colorado was not the place for me to live anymore. But I did the work that I needed to do first. And that right there was the key. I did not run from anything. I did a 12-step program and I worked all of the steps and I made sure that I was going to make the right choice for my future. I asked myself a very hard question, and it was, how can I die a happy person? And for me, one of those things is to sing back up for Mariah Carey. And so I said, how can I do that? And where do I need to be? I chose San Diego because I can be close to Los Angeles to go on auditions if I need to be. But I want a peaceful life. So I can live in San Diego, build my business here, build my community and my home here, and then just go up to LA if I need to, and just start to build a community that way. And so all of that came from having the courage to put down the bottle, because we don't live in a world that promotes healthy living. I started drinking and partying at 19 years old. I started bartending at 19 years old. So if you think about it, if I'm bartending at 19, then that means the guy at the liquor store across the street assumes that I'm 21. That means the people that I'm serving throughout the night assume that I'm 21. So I was drinking like alcoholically at 19 every single day. And so for 16 years, my body was done. I thank God I didn't end up in the hospital or ever in jail, but I was done. I was dependent upon a substance and I no longer wanted that. And the freedom that I now feel is heaven, is bliss. I got a flat tire on my bike yesterday and I was happy. Like, I was not angry at all. And how does that happen? Realizing that this life is beautiful and things happen. I used to drink over feelings of abandonment. I used to drink over fear of never finding love. I used to drink over a lot of the things that happened in my childhood and my past. But by going through the 12 steps, I realized that all of those things were just things that happen. Things don't happen to you. They happen for you if you choose to see it that way. And so I decided to take that shift and start to see my life different. And ever since then, my life has flourished.
Wow, congratulations on your upcoming sober anniversary coming up, party on Friday, I believe. So We're going to be celebrating. You will be seeing us post. We're going to do a pool party.
Oh,
So
yes.
just send some love. 4 years is a huge feat. And I just wanted to add, like, just to openly share my story. Before I go into that, I want to give a little bit more background on alcoholism and also addiction to food, right? I wanted to mention there's no shame about this. This is a genetic disease that you do get through your DNA, and you have higher likelihood of being an alcoholic genetically if you are Irish descent, if you are Native American descent. These are things that scientists have found, right? If people have not been exposed to alcohol that long, so there's absolutely no shame, and you could be any descent and have the genes. Okay, number two, the same goes with if you feel addicted to food or even another substance. Okay, and so there's help out there, right? And I know, just like Christoph was alluding to, no one does it alone, right? So it's about having a community, about having people that are going to help you through this process of healing, whatever that is for you. So just speaking to my former self, who was kind of like hiding it, but I know for me personally, Christoph, everyone, the thousands watching this, I started drinking actually. So I mentioned just earlier that in 6th grade, I kind of abandoned who I was to be kind of like a man's man. Like, I gave up all the things that brought a smile to my face. I tried to join the soccer team, tried to be someone that I really wasn't. I didn't love myself at that time. And I didn't even embrace my ability to speak really well, right? That was something I was made fun of for, because that's not typically something that boys did where I grew up, right? I remember all my friends who were boys telling me to actually try and not do well in school so that I would be more liked and things like that, right? It was just these weird things I look back on it, and I know that's not how it was everywhere. Okay. But when I didn't feel like I fit in high school, and I remember in 10th grade, I was like, fuck it. I was like, I want to get drunk. I think this is going to help people like me, because I'm going to be intoxicated. I'm going to be accepted by all the people that don't really like me that much. Sure enough, after I got drunk for the first time at age 15, I was like, damn, I like this. And then it started little by little changing who I was and changing literally my body, right? And I would just laugh it off in most of my 20s, like, oh, I got blacked out last night. I, got sick in the taxi or whatever, I'd always laugh about it and act like it wasn't a big deal. Now, push came to shove similarly during COVID, and I've been sober now for nearly 3 years. And during COVID, I was drinking a lot. I was drinking alone. I also was really worried about my liver health. I have alcoholism in my family. I have friends who have transitioned out of their bodies because of alcoholism. And I knew that I was going down a path that I did not want to go down. I noticed it in my skin. I noticed it in my digestion. Most importantly, Christoph alluded to this too, I noticed it in my spirit and my mind. I was very anxious. I didn't get good sleep. So I knew at a certain point I wanted to stop. I tried to stop multiple times. The only way that I stopped was when I found myself a sober buddy. So, especially someone who kept me accountable, who's already been sober his whole life. And also through joining different communities like the yoga community, and even dipping my toes into the AA community as well. And specifically, I've really found this great community through the LGBT AA community. And so I've been, and what I've noticed during this process is just this. I've noticed that I've stepped into more of who I am, and I'm in control. Right now, I am on solid ground. I'm not afraid of blank happening, that happening. I remember every day, especially when I was getting fucked up every weekend, how much money I would spend at the bar, how much, I remember having sex with someone I didn't even know their name. And I'm not proud. I'm just telling you, this is just facts. And I didn't want that to happen again. And so now it's like I'm very in control. I still love going out dancing, going to clubs, going to drag shows, I still do go to places where people are intoxicated if there's a reason. It's not like the olden days where I would just go just to get fucked up. Now, I will say now I'm really mindful about who I'm around, what I'm doing with my energy. And when I do go to the club, I be meeting the people that are fine as fuck, like in person, but inside and out, right? It's not just how you look outside. But I think the difference was when I was drinking, I had lost control about who I was around, and I didn't realize, and I talk about this more in my book, when you're intoxicated, whether it is cocaine, alcohol, or something else, your subconscious mind is open. So if you are around people that, for example, say, Christoph, you're an idiot, you just fell down, you're wasted, you'll wake up in the morning and think like, oh my God, I'm an idiot. That's been placed into 95% of your mind, your childhood brain. So it's really mindful if you are continuing to use in any sense to be mindful about who you're around and to know that sometimes for some of us that have that genetic predisposition, sobriety may be the pathway for you. It may be good to at least drink less, okay? And maybe add in some water, add some no drinking days because we are seeing a surge in liver failure amongst young people right now. So I just
Why
want
would
you
you
to
tap in
know
on
that.
that?
Yeah.
It's like, there comes a shift. A lot of people ask me, how did I know I was an alcoholic?
Mm-hmm.
When it stopped being fun, when I felt dependent upon that alcohol. I was a guy that loves shooters. So little mini bottles of alcohol. I always had about 6 shooters on me at all times. One day I realized I needed these shooters every day if I wanted to have a positive attitude. And then over time, my body physically craved that alcohol. So, if you feel like you cannot not have a drink, then you may be one of us. Um, and
Yeah.
that's okay because we live in a world that really wants you to be one of us or addicted to food, to alcohol, to drugs, to social media, to anything else to distract you from your inner true self. That's what these things do to us. It disconnects us from our spiritual self. When you remove all of those external things, go deep within with meditation, go deep within with healthy living, with food, with all of those things that fill us up. Um, Erica Badu talks about the 5 doctors. I don't think I've talked to you about this. She says that if you take care of the 5 doctors, you're a much happier human being. The 5 doctors are Dr. Green, we have to eat the right nutrition, the right food in our body. Dr. Sleep, we have to have the right amount of sleep in our body. Dr. Sun, we need to get out in the sunshine. Our bodies were meant to be in the sun. Dr. Exercise, our bodies are meant to be in motion. We need our exercise. And Dr. Spirit, we need time to be quiet, to take it in, and to listen to our spirit. If you take care of all 5 of those things, you will feel something energetically change within your body. And what I realize when I go on my runs is I take care of about 4 of those doctors at the same time. And that's why I feel unstoppable at the end and usually calling this guy to do something, But getting back to the question of how did I know I was an alcoholic, I think that's super important to talk about. You know, if you can go out and have a couple of drinks and go at home and everything is fine, then that's cool. A little hangover is all right. Making a few bad choices is understandable. But if you feel like that is consistently happening, if you feel like the only way that you can have fun is by drinking or by doing drugs, then maybe you should think about another way of living. Because let me tell you, I didn't think about another way of living at all. And now I am physically and mentally the person that I thought I was when I was drinking. I thought I was this fine, but
That
I
was
wasn't.
it. That was it. Yeah, and I will say that it is intense going through my sobriety journey. At least getting you, it's kind of like going from everything being fuzzy to everything being in high definition. So that's actually a sign that you're healing when you have to deal with those traumas, those toxic relationships. You can't just turn to the bottle to help numb you. And it can be, the bottle could be many things. The bottle could be some donuts, the bottle could be some drugs, right? And so that's why it's so important to have people that have been through that process that can relate to you.
That part.
And I know for me, once again, if I did not reach out for help, I'd probably still be in that vicious cycle, kind of covering it up. And I wanted to mention, you were actually touching upon something that hit me, and it's that lifestyle changes to your lifestyle are the biggest indicator of your happiness, your health, your longevity. It's not your genes. Your genes are not your destiny. Just as an example, if you get adequate sleep, adequate and quality sleep, you reduce your rates of Alzheimer's by about 40%. Now we're in a time we get about 2 hours less of sleep than we did about 500 years ago, like, once again. So it's like really important for you to have those boundaries and to know, like, yes, you're seeing everyone else not run, not sleep, get wasted, whatever it is, whatever. Do you desire to be a statistic? Do you desire to live that life? And it's really important to just ask yourself that, when you are in a sober state, and yeah, to reach out and to put yourself out there, whether it is, contacting one of us, whether it is, joining a community.
We think we're so unique. We think that like nobody has ever gone through anything that we've gone through. But I hate to break the news to y'all. It's been done before. And therefore, that means there are people out there that can give you information. Like one thing that I did not know about alcoholism was that alcohol turns into sugar in our bodies. So oftentimes when you are new in sobriety, your body craves sugar. And that's okay because you can eat the candy and lose the weight. And I did that. I got heavy and then I got real cute. But eat the candy and then kick the alcohol. But I would have never known that, if I would have just, we call it white knuckling it. When you just stop drinking alcohol, we call that a dry drunk and white knuckling. We have to discover why we drink. We have to do the personal internal work to figure out what led us to living that lifestyle that hid from everything. And for me personally, it was the 12 steps program. But there are other avenues out there to do that. And that's the beauty in community and to speaking about things. And I'm having so much fun taking you to some meetings because I've been in San Diego for 2 years. So I just found my core group of friends solidified about, within this last year. So it's always nice to bring a wonderful addition to the sober
Absolutely.
crew.
And it's important to find a community that matches you. So similarly with yoga and with AA, with yoga, I hated the first yoga class I took. I was actually made the example of what not to do, and I didn't vibe with the teacher. The music sucked. And I was like, I'm never going to go back to yoga. I took about 10 years off of yoga, and then I took an amazing yoga class here in San Diego, right? And I know I'm very picky with who I go to for my fitness and my yoga. I also go to Barry's boot camp. I also work out at home, just like my roommate, just like maybe you and a lot of other people out there that I train online all over the world. Okay. So it's important to find your community, your tribe, your people. Okay. Number one. Number two, know that just because you had one bad experience, like I did in my first couple of yoga classes, that doesn't mean that that's how all yoga is or all coaches are. Hello. The same went for me with AA, right? I was telling Christoph, my first couple of AA meetings just were with communities that were not an energetic match. It's just like dating, right? If you go on one date and it sucks, you're like, I'm never dating again. It's a numbers game, boo. So you
feels like that sometimes. So
it does,
like,
yeah.
Done.
Yeah, because especially when we all about the energy, okay? Because energy is everything. So I just want to invite you to just give yourself the chance to be a human and to, yeah, put yourself out there. You're never gonna get a yes without quite a few no's. I think of it like throwing darts. You need to throw a lot of darts before you hit the bullseye. If you only take one picture, studies have shown that and as opposed to like 1,000 pictures, that one picture usually sucks compared to the best picture of the 1,000 pictures that student B took. So
they give you 5 arrows,
progress over perfection.
not just one, right?
Exactly. Yeah, 5 arrows. So with all of that in mind, Christoph, like I would love to also hear. So we've talked more about, in my own journey of like hypnosis and meditation and spirituality. Part of me getting healthy, getting sober, loving myself has been that hypnosis path where we actually, and in the programs we work with me, and even in my book, you're going to get all these tools to help with reprogramming that subconscious mind, which is running the game, rather than the prefrontal cortex, which is 5% of your brain, which you're using right now to listen to us. And I know for me, it was placing the affirmation, I have a good relationship with food and alcohol, into my subconscious. I love myself unconditionally. And the list goes on. So I do that to this day. I did that last night, my own hypnosis during the twilight hours before I went to bed. And this morning I did a meditation, and I go deeper into that in my book, and Wellness Unfucked, you're going to see. Now I'm curious for you, Christoph, like you I've only heard bits and pieces of it, but like you go deep. Like he doesn't do no 20-minute hypnosis. It's like deep, like you're slowing down, you practice what you preach. How did that start? And like, what words of wisdom would you give to people out there that want to go deep?
I think it's a personality trait. I go hard at everything. I don't half-ass things. And that was also a reason for my success in sobriety. I'm all or nothing. And so at my most recent spiritual awakening about 4 months ago, I was just tired about how my life was going. And I went to a meditation meeting. There was also a sound bath, and there were spiritual healers there. And that really, really resonated with me. I was also reading some books at the same time. And I just had one of those days that it all just came crashing in a good way. And so I began creating my own practice. So I staged my entire home every morning, and I started to dive into philosophers that would just naturally come into my life because I trust this process. Things aren't supposed to be forced. So I heard of Dr. Joe Dispenza, And I dove super hard into Dr. Joe Dispenza, or as me and my friends call him, Dr. Joey D. So I actually do Dr. Joey D's The Alchemist 1 hour meditation every single day. But it first started with his 35-minute meditation, and that involves breath work. And so I really did not understand what meditation did for the body until Dr. Joe Dispenza. He really does combine spirituality with science. And for a person like me, I love facts. So if you can fact check spirituality, I'm like, in heaven. So when I started to listen to him and believe what he was saying, he would say things like, after 20 minutes of closing our eyes, after about 20 minutes of not moving our body, our brain kind of freaks out. It doesn't know what to do. So that's why we start thinking about all kind of other things. But when that happens, it means that it's working because that's what our brain is supposed to do. And so once I gained knowledge that our brain produces certain chemicals after certain amounts of time with no light and with no movement, I started to see things behind my eyes in a way that I had never experienced before. And I was not on hallucinogens. I was not on anything. And it's not a was, and it's an is. I still do every single day. And there's a feeling that I get that I never wanted to stop. And that is what has grown my practice and my meditation to at least an hour. Um, After that meditation, I really get into a philosopher named Alan Watts. I really resonate with him, and we actually share a birthday. And so I listen to his videos for about another hour in the morning. And every single day, I get a more understanding of energetically what our spirits are here to do and the reincarnation and seeing the source in all of us. And it just makes me feel so connected to everyone and everything that there's no way I can't walk out of my house feeling the best ever, and it all starts with taking care of me. But I get excited about this stuff. When the light bulbs start to go off, you want to do it longer and longer and longer. But I feel very fortunate to have a career where I get to say, I'm not leaving my house until 10 a.m. And so I take advantage of those blessings because not everybody has that.
Absolutely. That's beautiful. And so I just want to invite y'all too, like if you are in this point in your life where you can do that hour starting tomorrow, amazing, do it. And also for me personally, it just started with 5 minutes. It just started with a few minutes and it blossomed into me now I do about 20, 25 minutes and I do meditations. And I wanted to mention too, and this is something we dive deeper into in my book, where I give you actually a morning and evening ritual where we listen to your visualizations, you listen to your affirmations, you also listen to your intention and gratitude journal. So it's so good to use what works for you and customize it to your schedule.
I do want to say though, it was not easy, okay? Because it could come off like, oh, this dude's meditating for an hour. It was hard as fuck when I first started. Those first 2 weeks, 3 weeks, Dr. Joe Dispenza says it's like training an animal. And I have a wonderful sponsor who is educated in meditation and run Buddhist temples. So I had a lot of knowledge and a lot of people to help me through this process. Because there was a point, I think maybe day 2 or 3, where I literally screamed. Like I could not sit still. My first reflex was to scream, and I screamed. And I was so mad at myself because that meant I failed. I couldn't do it. And then I realized I was thinking about it completely wrong. But I just wanted to share that I am no saint. I am simply doing what anybody else can do. It just takes practice, work, and dedication.
Absolutely, yes. And it's interesting because if we really add up the amount of time we spend on our devices, or we spend, whatever your thing is, Netflix, okay, we all have a couple of minutes or even an hour to spare. It's about prioritization. And I think we are in this time, like we were talking earlier, where we're in a shift in consciousness where we're realizing that more is not better. Studies show that when you work more hours, you don't sleep, you don't work out, you are a horrible employee. You're not a good CEO. And that's why, I work with multiple companies giving that corporate wellness. So taking those breaks, playing, and resting is actually a necessity for you to channel your creativity. You can Google just about anything right? But you being you and you being that energetic match for what you're attracting is now more valuable than ever, especially as we are in this beautifully global society now where we can connect with anyone anywhere. And like you said, you're just a drive away from Mariah Carey. Who knows? She might watch this live. So
Hey,
we're really in this amazing magical time. It used to be, I was talking to one of my CEO clients about this, how you used to not be able to contact someone like Mark Zuckerberg. This person was literally Facebook messaging with Mark Zuckerberg. She was like, he responded. And I know, like, yeah, he probably has people hired to respond, etc. But this same person told me the crazy ways people got in touch with them. You know, even though in the past in 1998 that wouldn't have happened, right? You would have
no.
had to know someone at the company,
Oh
like
yeah.
not now.
A
If
record label's in charge of that
you
account,
can
but
you can skip to the front line if your energy is a match, if they look at you online or they hear about you or reference, oh my god, you can really connect with anyone anywhere anytime. So
my
it's an amazing
parents were
time.
able to collaborate with one of their most Sheila E. My parents love Sheila E. My mom wrote an email and then they collabed and did a song together. It all started by
Nice.
taking that chance. You know what I mean? Who knows what can happen?
Yeah, you just don't know what can happen, right? So I think your best life is just sometimes a direct message away. And I wanted to mention too, like transformation takes place in the present moment. If you're constantly reliving the past, it already happened, baby. It's time to move on. And science shows as well, Joe Dispenza probably goes deeper into this, that we have multiple realities that are happening all at the same time. And right now, you're deciding which reality you are calling in through that energy. And so I think it's just so good. Like, I'm so glad that Christoph and I met each other and that we've connected and we're just cheering each other on and spending time together, and other people that are a great match energetically. And for people out there that are like, I know we we're talking a lot about community and things of that nature. Maybe it'd be good to like talk more about like what type of community, like how people can start that community process, and any words of wisdom you might have for your former self, because I'm sure there's one of them watching.
You know, it's asking questions and not being afraid, you know, and just leaning in because I gained most of my community here in San Diego through AA. And it really just took me going into one meeting. And I feel very fortunate to be an alcoholic because I literally moved from one state to another, knowing one person. And by walking into one meeting, I had a phone full of numbers of people who will genuinely show up for you. And to this day, 2 years later, a few of those people are my hardcore people for life. And we do fun stuff together. And you know, I like being a new representation of what 12-step programs can be. They don't have to be boring, they don't have to be drab, they don't have to be old and dusty. Because I'm not old and I am not dusty. But I do believe in living a healthy lifestyle. And so you have to have people around you that think the same way, but also challenge you. You know, we don't need that yes men. Like, you
Oh
know,
no.
you challenged me not too long ago about, you know, I have this dream of owning a big mansion in Mission Hills. But, you know, after talking, like, do energetically, I really want that as a responsibility. I'm 37 years old. I want to do a lot of traveling. I'm not having kids. Do I really need that? You know, you challenge me to think about things, and I appreciate that. We don't need yes men around us all the time. That doesn't help us grow. We need people who are going to be honest, who are going to challenge us, but also want the best for us, you know, and I can tell that from you.
Yeah, definitely. That energy is everything, and it's your sixth sense. You know, it's the one we don't talk about, but cats, dogs, animals are really in tune with it. So I just invite you to really listen to that in terms of who you are around. And really, I remind you too to enjoy this process, right? And find that community, because the community, you really change through community. I actually, when I was getting my master's in counseling, I went to an amazing conference, the Warrior Spirit Conference, and it was all about intergenerational trauma in the Native American community, because I worked with Native American youth back in that time in schools. And we learned that in one of the workshops, the one thing that can help you heal from trauma and intergenerational trauma is community, right? Is mentors. Like, so right now, Christoph and I, just talking to each other, we have something called mirror neurons. So our mirror neurons, like how he's feeling, I'm feeling, how I'm feeling, he's feeling, our vibe is now being shared, our energy, our aura. And so when you're connecting, even you just watching us and commenting, maybe seeing us in real life, maybe connecting with us in a one-on-one call or a consultation, as is the case for Christoph, you are changing your energy to change your life. And so I know we act like it's so whatever, like, oh, getting your hair done, doing some yoga, doing some coaching. You're really changing your life, and it's so very much even more valuable than these physical objects sometimes we focus on, right? You know, remodeling the floor or doing these things that great. And let's also add in some really great work, whether it is pouring into your hair, pouring into your body, your mind, okay? Your what makes you happy. And without further ado, anything else you wanted to add to anyone watching that we haven't covered?
I guess it just goes back to the point of slowing down with what we both do, yoga and beauty. It involves slowing down and taking care of ourselves. If you haven't had a haircut in a year, that's a problem. If you haven't done a good workout, that's a problem. In about 6 months, that's a huge issue. We live in such a fast-paced world that you'll be surprised how well you can perform once you start taking a moment for yourself by someone that you trust. And so I want to say thank you for having me here. It's always been fun. This is what we do.
Absolutely. It's an honor. And with that in mind, I like to ask some final questions just to leave high vibe. What is the best advice that someone has ever given you, Christoph?
Ooh, on the spot with that. Some of the best advice that someone has ever gave me. Um, you know, I don't think that I have anything super special to say as far as the best advice someone has ever given me. I've always been told to live for my authentic self, and I can definitely resonate with that. But I guess the first thing that pops in my mind was to not get a credit card right out of college.
Hey,
My
that's
mom and
real.
dad, they were like, listen,
Yeah.
son, no matter what, don't get a credit card in college. You'll thank me later. And I didn't, and I thanked them. So that maybe not be what you were expecting, but it's very real.
Amazing. Good. And then also, number two, I just would love to hear who, like, for the people out there, ladies, gentlemen, people that are like, I need to get my hair done. Like, who is your ideal client? Like, who are you calling in right now? Who should book with a consultation with you?
Well, one thing that I think is missing in San Diego is a connection between the client and the stylist. Salons here are very busy, they're very chaotic. You get a receptionist, you don't really know who's doing your hair. And I learned that from working at two different salons before I opened up my own. I have a private studio salon located in the heart of Hillcrest. And so my ideal client is a woman of color who has, or a Caucasian woman that has very curly hair or a texture of hair that isn't easy to have cut. I'm trained in dry cutting. I learned from a Dominican from the Bronx named Cookie, and she's passed on. So we love to give her energy. I learned how to cut curly hair dry, and it's a shaping, and I do wet maintenance cuts as well. So I love educating clients on their hair textures. One thing that's been happening is I've had clients bring their daughters in, and so they both have curly hair, and so I'm teaching them the education on their different textures of hair. And it fills me up on the inside being able to give this knowledge to a child who is then going to take it for the rest of their life. Um, but again, my ideal client is someone who wants that one-on-one connection from someone who understands their hair. Also, someone who is about to get married, darling, because if you are looking for a bridal stylist who brings the correct energy and 10 years of experience, I'm that guy.
Fabulous. So do go and connect with Christoph. I wanted to add too, especially for Christoph's people, if you do desire to work on that body, that mind, that spirit, get fit and love it while making money, do connect with me at the very least. Click that follow button. And I am offering great deals on yoga sessions, like one-on-one private yoga sessions at your home or in the great outdoors. It's summer. Now is the time to get healthy, and online, right? I work with people. I do the therapeutic coaching. We do the hypnosis, and also live classes any place, anywhere. So today, even my own mother was there, clients from all over the world. So I'd love to connect with my people, your people, everyone out there that's interested in living your dream. And where can they find you, Christoph, if they're feeling your good energy and they want to book with you? Where and connect? Yeah.
So you can find me on Instagram. You can book through my booking site located on my Instagram, Key Hair LLC, as well as Key Bridal Hair. You can also Google my business, Key Hair LLC. There's a booking link on there as well. And you can call me or shoot me a text or a DM.
And And I would say the best way to authentically connect with me, y'all, limitless_Luke on Instagram. Number 2, Mindfully Sculpted is our free Facebook community where we can really connect and rise higher. It's a virtual wellness community, and we have people from all over the places. It's been wonderful and magical and amazing. Not just that, and I will be dropping more info about this tomorrow. I wanted to let y'all know that I've made it all the way to the end of our podcast, that the Thailand retreat is very quickly launching. So let me know. We are going to be in Thailand doing mind body magic, tapping in your best self, February 17th to the 22nd. So just contact me if you're interested. For the month of July, I'm offering an early bird special, $500 off, and it's all inclusive, exclusive retreat in Chiang Mai, Thailand. And we're going to go see the temples, go see the elephants, and meet you, become your best self inside now. Anyways, without further ado, any last words you wanted to offer our community before we close out?
Just remember to take care of yourself and love yourself.
All right. With that in mind, everyone, whether you're here now or in the future, press one hand to your heart, one hand to your body as you remember that. Breathe in, taking care of yourself, and positively exhale. Wonderful. Be the change you desire to see in the world. If you enjoyed this podcast or this replay on YouTube, beyond, please leave us a review. We'd love to hear from you. And also in the social media world beyond, please write down your questions, greatest takeaways below. And we look forward to being there with you as you ascend in love, health, beauty, beyond. Thank you all so much. Have a fantastic day. Peace, love, and blessings. Bye-bye.